Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried & Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Thank you once again for tuning in. As always, the belief and trust you have in me with tuning in and sharing these episodes means the world to me. And I know it's not me, it's the amazing guests that I bring on. And I also want to give a shout out to our sponsors. You guys are fantastic. I couldn't do this without you. Siegfried & Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, Thread Wallets. You guys are the best. So I just want you to know how much I love you. And today is going to be no different. Like I always say, it's just every week. It's like week after week. These amazing individuals come on my show. And this beautiful woman that I'm sitting with right now came highly recommended by a mutual friend of ours named Amy. And so today we're joined by Mary Crafts. Mary, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. And you guys are in for a treat today. A little background on Mary. She's the founder and CEO of Culinary Crafts. It's Utah's largest off-premise catering company. Yeah. That says something because there's a lot of them out there.
From starting in my kitchen in my condo, yes, it's been a long haul.
Boy, and we were talking about this. You've done this the old-fashioned way, which I'm so impressed with. You're a 21-time winner of the Best of State. You've been doing this for 35 years. You've had a cooking TV show. You have even catered to celebrities. You're involved in many nonprofits. You were recently Utah Business Magazine named Utah Business Magazine Woman of the Year. That is amazing. You also got the Hero Award from Silicon Slopes. In 2019, you summited Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, that's in Africa.
Yes, that is in Africa. That is amazing. You're a mentor. You're an author of the Unbounded From Sorrow to Summit. You talk about hard life lessons. You have a weekly podcast called Crafting a Meaningful Life. You talk about letting go of fear. You talk about if you can't dream it, it doesn't happen. Create your inner badass. You're passionate. You're courageous. The list goes on, folks. And I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of who we're talking to with today. She's an amazing woman. And so, Mary, thank you for being here.
My honor, truly.
Yeah.
Because the people who are listening to this, they are me.
Yeah.
And I am them. Nothing separates us, only an illusion.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to know is that you just read off this kind of crazy list of accomplishments, But but for a few years, I walk where you walk. And I had an interesting experience just about a month ago. I was asked to come and speak, and I didn't know who the group was. But this is a woman who, when she has a group called Elevate, and when she asks me to come, I just go.
Yeah.
You don't hesitate.
Right.
And the moment I got in the car that night, I started feeling into this group. Like, I wonder who this group is. There's something about this group, and I just felt my heart kind of just being drawn into them.
Yeah.
And when I arrived on site, the organizer leaders said to me, these women are from the domestic violence abuse shelter.
Oh, wow.
And they've come tonight. We're treating all of them. They get to pick out an outfit. They get to have their hair done and their makeup done. And you're the summation speaker for this night of embracing new hope. And I just stood there for a moment. I felt the tears coming down my face. I thought, yes, I have walked in to this situation not knowing in advance why I was feeling this way. So when it came my time, I stood up and I said, there but for a few years go I. I stand here in front of you looking like this 69-year-old, very well put together person. But let me tell you, after I graduated from college as a social worker, I started the first domestic violence shelter in Utah County.
Oh, wow.
in the basement
That's
of
amazing.
a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
We had an iron bed, an old iron bed, and a
Yeah.
little cradle, and that was about it, just some donated things.
Yeah.
And as I opened that shelter, I had no idea that in just a mere 8 years, I would find myself there.
Oh, my goodness.
And as I told that story, you can imagine the looks on their faces that she was me.
Mm.
This very put together, well accomplished woman was me. And yes, I was you, and I am you. Doesn't mean that now that I'm here that I've forgotten what it's like to be here.
Yeah.
And that was an emotional moment for me to realize that the
Sure.
very shelter that I began, now they're in a different place and they've evolved,
Right.
because it's now some
Yeah.
40 years later. But the thing is that they just could relate to me.
Right.
And they could understand that I did know what was happening to them. And that I was in a 28-year abusive relationship, marriage, until I finally found the courage to stand up.
Wow.
And to live with someone who's bipolar, has a rage disorder, who has a paranoia disorder, and then, of course, later on to realize that he was also gay. I'm not angry at this person.
Yeah.
I don't resent this person. In fact, I am who I am because of those
Yeah.
experiences.
Uh-huh.
But they began to see that, this woman really can relate to where I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's a very touching story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Again, you are a very well put together person. You've got some amazing accomplishments. I think also what you probably did for these women, not only could they relate with you, but they probably said, man, if she can get out of this, then it's possible for me.
That is exactly the lesson I want people to get. I want them to go home with that burning in their heart. If she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And even when I had this PBS cooking show, that was the theme of my cooking show. I'm not a certified chef. And yet I started this amazing catering company simply because I wanted to keep my children with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to work and put them in daycare. And I couldn't leave them with my husband. And so what were my options? And so I started this catering company. And, when you look at your life and where you've traveled, that sense of really gratitude. And even now, that's where my gratitude comes from. That when I realized that my struggles, that I thought sometimes were absolutely insurmountable, were my gifts.
Mm.
And I didn't know that at the moment. Now, the moment they get behind you just a little bit, it's pretty easy to see them. Like, that was my gift.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for giving me that horrible experience. But in fact, that night when I was talking to those women from the shelter, I asked them that very specific question. How many of you in this room feel you struggle? And everyone's hand went up, including the women who were there to support with their services and just like me.
Yeah.
Everyone raised their hand. And then I asked, how many of you equate struggle with failure?
Ooh.
And every woman's hand went up.
Went up.
That they equated, just because I'm struggling, I must be failing. And that's what I am. I'm a failure.
Dang.
And I don't know if I know the direction out of this. This must be my lot in life, and that I'm not going to ever, this must be what I'm about, struggling my whole life. And in the end, I will look back and say, is that all there was? But it is that struggle that's not failure. Struggle is actually the key, the gift to success.
Yeah.
I look back and the gifts that I have, I realized what a badass I was. I was a strong woman, and I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom after I graduated from high school or college. I wasn't going to work. I was just going to, be someone who was going to support me. That's what I was going to do. And that didn't happen. And I found out, I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
To really grit down and keep my nose on the grindstone until it's bloody.
Yeah.
And what that gave to me, the gift of resilience.
Yeah.
I look at my life with my husband, and what I learned from that was the gift of compassion and empathy as I began to realize the struggles he was having and how hard that was for him.
Wow.
And I look now back, and because of those experiences and starting my own business, you're going to have to self-promote. You darn well better find a voice and be able to speak and present in front of people.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had this talent, and suddenly, whoa, I look at me, I'm a podcaster. I do motivational speaking around the country.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would not have had that gift
Yeah.
before. And so it's easy for me now. And I think to the listeners, it's really tough to sit there it's easy for them to say, what does she know? How does she know?
Yeah.
She doesn't know my struggles. She doesn't know my sexual abuse. She doesn't know my addictions. She doesn't know my rejections. And they're right. I don't. But I do know this. I do know that those struggles universally are the gifts that you are meant to overcome to bring you to that absolutely profound place of, so this is who I am? This is who I get to be now?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. You know, it's almost like one of those things. It's like you're practicing what you preach, right? Like, again, that's that relatable factor that you have, right? Like you're not just telling these women, here's how to rise up. No, I'm telling you this because this is what I had to do.
Yeah.
I had to walk the walk as well. And I really, really admire that in you, that you, and I didn't know that part of your story. I know a lot about you because I've been studying you for like a month.
You know all the parts that you publish.
Yeah.
Not all the grit.
But I do
it.
appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that part of your life. And I know there's probably a lot more around that, but it makes me relate with you even better just sitting here with you, I, to be honest.
You know, sometimes I do a lot on social media, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I have my podcast. I have my website. And inevitably, I'll have someone say to me who follows me, they'll say, Mary, you are so photogenic. Every photo of you is so beautiful. And I look at them and I laugh. I go, well, duh, I don't post the bad ones. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part about life. You know, people look at other people and go like, oh, they're so beautiful. Oh, their life is so perfect. And like, duh, yeah, we don't post the bad stuff. But I do try and be honest and open in my what I put on social media, that I do try and say, even now today, I struggle.
Yeah. And
I did this kind of incredible feat, which I really consider a feat. I think you know, at age 50, I was still in my marriage. In fact, I didn't divorce till 55. And so anybody who thinks it's too late for them, just come talk to me, okay? Just come talk to me.
It's never too late.
At age 50, I weighed 284 pounds. And I allowed myself to use that as a protectionism for all the fears that I had bottled up inside of me. All the fears of being rejected, and all the fears of failing, and all the fears of being laughed at, and things that came from my childhood, but were actually exacerbated then through my marriage. And at that point, I had my 50th birthday party. This is back when you used to go to Kmart to pick up your photos.
Yeah, I remember those days.
You didn't have them on your phone.
Yep, you had to go get them at the grocery store.
And when I picked them up, I stood there and I just started to weep. I was like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
I may be successful, but inside, I'm so unhappy. Everything in my life is being done based on my fears. Yeah. It's why I was such an amazing caterer. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of not pleasing somebody. I was afraid of being laughed at or rejected. And so I was like this ultimate caterer. But then you begin to realize everything that you do is around those fears.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know at that point how I was going to change my life. I just knew that I was. And it began with that desire.
Dang.
It began with that, I'm changing. I am changing. And so I just began to write down and keep track of my fears.
Yeah.
You know, like, and this is how I did it. So it doesn't really matter what your genre is.
Yeah.
The principles are the same. Whenever I would think about eating, I began to keep a journal. What were you feeling? What were you thinking about? And it was crazy to me. Like my palms would be sweaty.
Really?
Or I'd be nervous about something. Oh, let's see, I need to stop and buy a candy bar before I go do that. You know, it was amazing. Subconsciously, I was feeling these fears, and consciously, I was going to abate them by eating.
By eating, yeah.
And like, whoever wants to go to the gym at that weight? I was afraid of failing again.
Yeah.
And what I learned, Todd, is that all fears relate down to only one. There's really only one basic fear, and it's the fear that's been with us since childhood. And it is the fear of not being enough.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I wouldn't be afraid of failing if I was enough. I wouldn't be afraid of being laughed at if I was enough.
Right.
I wouldn't be afraid of being rejected by people if I was enough. And unconsciously, you know, no parent comes into this life and says to their children, I'm going to start out by making my children feel they're not enough. We don't,
Right.
we don't
Yeah,
do
we
that.
don't set out to do that, for sure.
But inevitably we do, because I think some of it is that we have such high hopes for our children. We're push and push. That's not good enough. That's not enough. Push for better. You need A's. You need to do this. You need to do the, you know, me play the piano. You need to, you know, don't wear that to school. But you know, you need to wear it. Wow. Oh my gosh. Are we unloading on our children?
Yeah.
And don't think I parented perfect either.
Yeah.
In fact, I often told my children, aren't you glad I'm in the plan? The plan is that I really screw up. And then you get to spend your life fixing it and becoming aware and waking up and achieving and finding that beautiful person inside. You're not out of the plan.
Right.
This is the plan.
Yeah.
And so when I began to make that change, it took me 6 years to lose half my body weight and to finally have the courage to go to the gym. And the thing is that along the way, we set goals.
Yeah.
Goals aren't enough.
Right.
Goals are what happens after you've done the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then people talk about intentional living. You have to be intentional about how you're going to live every day. I agree.
Right.
But that's still not the first step.
Right.
For me, the piece that really made it for me is I made a decision about 3 or 4 things that I was going to be committed to, and promises I made myself no matter what. And so it's, if you don't make a goal, you don't make a goal. It's just like, oh, I'll make a new one later.
Yeah.
And if you didn't live intentionally one day, then you just say, I'm going to get back to my intentions the next day. But if you break a promise to yourself, those are much deeper.
Yeah.
And I've committed to myself to be my very best self.
Yeah.
What does that look like every day? So what are my intentions so I can be my very best self? What are my goals so I can be my very best self? I want that to be everyone's goal.
Yeah.
Being your very best self. And some days my best self is not good.
Yeah, right.
I'm bringing my best, but it ain't much. You know what I mean? But some days my best is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I learned to let go of perfectionism. It wasn't about being perfect, but it sure is about being excellent at what you do.
You know, our good friend Tiffany Peterson said, perfectionism is just covered up fear.
Yeah.
And I loved it when she said that. I'm like, man, that makes so much sense when you really analyze that. You're like, yeah, that's really where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prove to myself and everyone else, look how good I am.
Look how good I am.
And then we don't quite hit it. And then we beat ourselves up and go, see, I'm not enough. Yeah.
And sometimes people can recover quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't.
Right.
And then they slip down to an even lower spot and recovery comes harder.
Yeah.
So I think that begs then the question of, well, how do I not slip down?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a great question.
it does come down to learning to love yourself. That is such an easy phrase to say
Right.
and much harder to do. And so I'm going to share with you something I've yet to share with anyone because it just happened to me 2 days ago.
Wow.
And here it goes.
Okay.
I was listening to a podcast by Oprah Winfrey, and she was talking about loving yourself. And that's kind of one of her, mantras, her bandwagon.
For sure.
And she talked about loving yourself at every stage. And I have always been like, it's okay that I didn't love myself back then. I mean, really, who could? That was the thing. As long as I love myself now.
Yeah, right.
But as she was talking, I walked over and turned off the podcast and just sat there. And I thought, can I go back and love that woman who I've worked so hard to move away from?
Yeah.
Can I go back and embrace her? What would that feel like?
Yeah.
And I sat there and I closed my eyes and I began to envision her. And I began to feel such gratitude.
Yeah.
And I found myself out loud saying, thank you. Thank you for going through all that stuff.
Man, yeah.
Thank you for... And I put my arms around myself and I could actually feel my old self with all those rolls of fat and all that horrible, piece that I worked so hard to get rid of. And I just thanked her so much. And thank you for sticking it out and learning those hard lessons. And thank you for finding the beautiful part of you. And I began to see all the pieces along the way that ended for the first time in my life. At 69, keep this in mind, I began to feel love for that woman who walked the path and thanked her.
Wow. Wow, what a transformational moment for you.
It was.
Man.
And just 2 days ago.
2 days. Thanks for sharing that. Well, man, I want to jump back just a little bit. There's so much.
I'm sorry.
No. No, this is beautiful. This is great. You mentioned, you keep mentioning that these tough times were gifts. And someone listening to this right now who's in the thick of it, like you mentioned, it's hard to see it when you're going through it, right?
Absolutely.
What could we tell that person right now? Like, because I'm a big believer of what you're saying. I always tell my clients, life happens for you.
Not to you.
Not to you.
Right.
Like, I'm talking to you today, Mary, because I took a drink at 11 years old.
Yeah.
Seriously, when I look at that, that's honestly why I'm sitting here with you. And I could break it all down for you. But going through it at the time, I had no clue. And it's tough when you don't see, through the thick and the weeds and all that stuff. So what would you say to that person? It's like, I'm in the thick of this, Mary. What do I do when I'm going through it?
So your mode of operation was drinking and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was eating. But the addictions and the pain were the same.
Yeah, exactly.
My addiction, no different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
My need to find comfort. My need to find acceptance. My need to find some place where the pain would go away.
Yeah.
Same. And when you are in the middle of it is the toughest time. So how about just one time? One time you get through it without choosing that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the great secrets that I discovered about myself getting through this was this. And this is one of the phrases that's in my book that's, for me, one of the most profound, is that the healing starts when the hiding stops. All of us hide.
Love that.
You didn't run out to your parents and say, look me, here, I'm taking a drink. Woohoo, aren't you proud of me? No. Where were you doing that? In hiding.
Yep.
Where was I eating? In hiding. Not
hiding.
like, oh yeah, having these dozen donuts. Oh yeah. We don't, we
Right.
we hide.
Yeah, we hide it.
And if I could let anybody say anything, do you want to be healed today? Stop hiding.
Man, that's amazing.
Because the moment you step into that decision is the moment you start into the passageway.
Wow.
And you're like, well, passageway for what? Of what? You can either choose to live a fear-based life, or you can choose to live a love-based life.
Yeah.
And my life was welded in fear for decades. So when I made these decisions and I began keeping track and all the goal setting things, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
the one thing that I knew had to come first, and that was I had to stop hiding.
Yeah.
So what if you went to the gym and somebody saw you trying to walk on the treadmill? Would that be horrible? Would you die? Would people actually stand there and point at you and laugh and call you by name? No.
Right.
So the fear is mine, and the decision to stop hiding was also mine.
Yeah.
And in that passageway, there are so many steps, but the very first one is vulnerability. You cannot walk through this passageway unless you're willing to be vulnerable, to stop hiding, to show yourself. Those people who are wondering how they're not going to take a drink tomorrow or not going to get high or any of those things, what would happen if at that moment you decided to stop hiding and you went and told someone?
Yeah.
You shared the pain. You shared the fear. At that moment, you said, yesterday I heard this woman talk. Yesterday I made a decision. I was going to stop hiding and start healing. This is the moment. So what is it I do today, right now? She told me to tell somebody, stop hiding.
Yeah.
And I find someone. I found someone. I call someone. I leave this closet. I walk out. I go to a neighbor's. I pick up. I call Todd. I do whatever it is. That's your first step, willing to be vulnerable and willing to know this is the great part. That may sound incredibly hard to you, but I'll tell you what, this is the reward. When you stop hiding, what you realize is that what you were trying to hide is the exact thing that you will be loved for.
Whoa. Wow. Say that again.
The exact thing that you've been trying to hide is the very thing that you will be loved for. Your willingness to come forward.
That is amazing. Sorry.
And be emotionally naked. In one of my talks, I put up this big thing in the PowerPoint, and it says, "Are you ready to get naked?" And people in the room start going, either some of them go, "Oh my, I better leave now," or the rest of the people are like, yeah.
You're right.
And I'm like, oh, whoa. I'm not talking about physically naked.
Right.
I'm talking about, are you ready to be emotionally naked?
Emotionally, yeah.
Where there isn't anything that you would hide from me. I have that kind of relationship in my life now.
Yeah.
With my children and with my partner. I haven't always had it with my children.
Yeah.
I hid from my children as well.
Hmm.
I used to always hide from my husband. But now I'm living an emotionally naked life. When I'm having a tough day, I tell it.
Yeah,
I text. I'm like, whoa, not a good day today.
Yeah.
Heading over to C's Candy Shop.
Right.
But if you can say that, guess what happens?
Yeah.
The support, the rally, the love just flows to you. I got you, Mary. Come see me. I'll come see you. Where are you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm sitting outside of Vasa Gym. We're thinking whether I should go in or not today. Can I just have one day off, please?
Yeah.
Just today,
Please.
do I have to be the strongest woman at the gym? Can I just stay home? You know what I mean? And like, no, we're going to go with you. Just wait there. We'll come. I mean, people just want to be there for you if you let them. I know people in their lives have had times, as I did, where people did reject them for their fears and their struggles.
Sure. Right.
But it doesn't have to be that way. You can find your champions. Now, people always say, find your cheerleaders. Yeah, it's not about finding your cheerleaders, and I'll tell you why. A cheerleader is somebody who's there to cheer you on when you're doing great.
Yeah.
They're like the people who are out there, the kids at the football game. And when the team is winning, they are cheering loud. But when the team is not winning, the cheerleaders are silent.
Yeah.
But find yourself a champion
Mm.
that cheers you even when you're losing.
I love that.
Find a champion that will stand beside you and say, hey, how was your day today? Hey, I know this has not been the best week for you, but I want you to know I'm here and I love you. In fact, I'm coming to see you. Find a champion that will be with you at all times, that you can be completely emotionally naked with, that you can be vulnerable and share all.
Yeah, that's very
So
well
let me
said.
just say one more
Wow.
time. The healing will start when the hiding stops. And maybe that will be today for you.
Wow, so powerful, man. So many things. My mind's being blown right now. And then you said the exact thing that you were hiding, you'll be loved for.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. I mean, I
Boom.
think about just growing up. I was always afraid I couldn't, because I became overweight at the age 4.
Mm.
So I was afraid my whole life that I was not going to be able to compete in sports, or I was always chosen last. Who came up with that idea of choosing teams by, I'll take this person, I'll take this person. In my entire life, I've never been chosen first. I've never even chosen second from the bottom. I was always chosen last.
Yeah.
And the fears that generated in me of that I'm not enough. I'm never going to be enough. No one will ever choose me first. Now think about that, how that
Yeah.
affects your life.
Yeah.
In going to school, in finding a mate, in being a parent, that you will never be chosen
Yeah.
first.
It's tough.
It's tough. But when you start being vulnerable and stop hiding, what you discover is you start being chosen first.
Mm.
So
Wow.
who among us as a parent, if a child comes to us and says, Mom, I've been really struggling. I haven't really shared this with you before, but I need help. And so some friends and I have been doing this at school, and I don't know how to get out. What parent says, go to your room? You're not, okay, maybe you have a parent that does that, okay, but then you find someone else to be your champion.
Yeah.
But to be honest, most parents, when
yeah.
they hear that, respond to that, because we respond the fastest and the most pointed when you hear honesty.
Right.
When you hear people sharing their hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I never did that as a child.
Yeah. And I think most kids don't because we haven't been taught or trained to do that. But that's why we're doing this podcast.
Absolutely.
We're trying to get, hey, let's do something different.
Let's try it different.
I love it.
This is, the other old way hasn't been working.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to that one last time.
Yeah.
Sorry
please.
about this.
No.
When you said you discover that what you've been hiding, you really love the most.
Yeah.
So I know this is going to sound really strange from someone who's sitting here that sounds like she's, the first and largest extrovert that ever lived and was at the front of the line every time something fabulous was happening because she was in the center. Okay. But that was really just, I'm that introvert, masquerading as an extrovert.
Yeah.
And so in my company, I had to develop some of those extrovert to be able to, market and talk to people and sell my company and all those sort of things. And then you have these opportunities to network, to attend different events. And I would always accept the invitation, say yes, check. And I would arrive and I would drive around the block pretending I was looking for a parking space.
Mm.
And then maybe it got too late. And I'm like, I'll just go home. I'll go to the next one. And really, it was a fear of going in. And what would happen if I actually parked and went in?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm not dressed like everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe I have pants and they have dresses. Maybe they all know somebody there and I know no one.
Yeah.
Maybe they might laugh at me and say, oh, isn't that Mary Crafts? She shouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? I'm crazy things that really were not based in truth.
Right.
But they were my fears. And so one of the key things I did, and I would like every single listener to do this. So it doesn't matter who you are,
Yep.
how old you are, doesn't matter what gender you are, doesn't matter what your addictions are in life. This is it, and it's going to change your life. So one thing I decided I was going to do was I was going to put a Post-it note on my mirror that I would look at every morning, and that I would have to be accountable to that Post-it note, which was really accountable to me.
Yeah.
And the Post-it note said simply this: what would I do today if I were no longer afraid? And as I would look at that Post-it note every morning, I would say, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on that treadmill. I'm going to walk 15 minutes at 2 miles an hour. You know what I mean? I'm going to get it done.
2's better than 1 mile
That's
an hour,
right.
right?
And when I would come, I would say to them the same thing every single time I would flash my key code to get in. I would say, 15 minutes of something is better than 2 hours of nothing.
Right.
And I would go. The first time I had one of those networking events, and I'd put this Post-it note up there, I looked at that and I said, what would I do today if I were no longer afraid?
Jeez.
And I said, you know what?
That's powerful.
I would go into that networking event in the first parking space I found. I would walk right in. If I wasn't afraid, I'd walk up to the first person and I would emotionally get naked and say, hey, this is my first time. Where do you get those name tags? Or is there a program? Hey, where'd you get those drinks? Or, so how does this run? This is my first time. Or I'd start initiating. And what's your company? It says down there you're from blah, 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 And I would begin the conversation. Who says I have to wait for them?
Right.
People, I'm only afraid because I'm waiting for people to reach out and touch me. Hello? If I weren't afraid, what would I do? I would reach out and touch them. What a novel idea.
Oh, yeah. What a novel idea.
And I had lived at the base of Timpanogos since I moved to Utah in 1972. I never thought I would reach the top. I never thought I would even try because it was something, beyond me. I wasn't enough to ever go up there. And then I'd set a goal. September 13th, I was going to climb Tim. And when I got up that morning and looked outside and I looked up at the mountain, I was like, it snowed. What the heck? It snowed. And so then I got to use one of my other coping mechanisms, which was excuses. Oh, well, I can't go today. It snowed. I mean, who would really expect me to go?
Yeah, really. I wasn't planning
seriously,
on the
that
snow.
was like, I don't know what they were thinking when they made it snow up there, but I certainly can wait, right? And I walked then into my bathroom, looked at my mirror, and it said, what? What would you do today if you were no longer afraid? And I said, I would climb that mountain. I would climb that mountain. And so I did. And when I heard someone talk who had climbed all 7 major peaks in the world and sailed all of the 7 peaks.
Martin
Fry.
I've had him on my podcast.
And
He's
he
amazing.
spoke to a board meeting that I was in. He came and sat next to me afterwards, and I said, Martin, I was 60 at the time. I said, Martin, I've lost all this weight. I've become so fit. I feel like I need to do something that puts my stake in the ground.
Yeah.
That says, I have done this. And so I don't even know what in the world I could possibly do, but I feel like I want to do something. He turned and looked right at me without a moment's hesitation. He said, Mary, you shall climb Kilimanjaro. What? At that point,
what?
I'm like, oh my gosh, don't be ridiculous. I'm already 60. And he goes, how long do you need to get ready? I said, well, I don't know, 5 years. And he goes, you want to be 65 when you go up there? And I went, well, I'm going to need a long time. I'm not ready for such a big thing, And I began to doubt and fear come right back. And he said, I'll touch base with you now and then, and we'll see how you're doing. I'm like, okay. So the very first thing I did is I went home and told everyone I knew. I put it on my Instagram, my Facebook. I told all my friends. I told all my family. Because the more people that know about your goal, the more support group you have.
You're going to get more accountability.
And people would stop. I would so I told people, and I would tell them again and again, I'm climbing Kilimanjaro, And so they would begin to ask me, how's Kilimanjaro training? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's coming, But I was kind of like, I'm afraid to start the training because that means climbing. And I don't like to hike. I've avoided it my entire life. I have great coping skills to avoid hiking.
Sure, yeah, right.
And finally one day I thought, I have to go hike somewhere. This is before Timp. And I thought, and then I went out and did this little hiking. I came home, I posted and I said, it's the best kept secret in the world. Hiking is just walking outdoors. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I have been a hiking advocate ever since. I bought my first pair of hiking boots and I would be driving along down in Capitol Reef and I'd say, I wonder if I can get to the top of that. And I just stop and it's like, yeah, I'm going up. Oftentimes I get to the top, I'm like, okay, how do I get down? Because going up is much easier than coming down.
Yeah, right. Oh,
because you're
man.
just climbing, and your hand fist kind of thing. When you're coming down, there's less hand fist. It's just coming down.
Yeah.
And you see where you're going down.
Yeah.
But I mastered that skill, and at age 65, 1 week before my 66th birthday, I summited Kilimanjaro.
That's amazing.
And this is what I can tell you about that. That it was a summit for me. But it's not the summit that matters. It's the journey. And it's not the summit that matters even now to me. It's the additional summits that I have now, still in front of me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would be there on the mountain and I would just like scream at the mountain. My group that I went with, I didn't know any of them. I went by myself. And they were all together, and then it was me. They had climbed Rainier and Denali and some Everest, and they were master climbers. And then there was me. So they were always ahead of me. And I was always by myself, except for my one African guide that didn't speak much English. And so many times I would just like yell at this mountain. I would say, in Utah, people like me. I'm really somebody in Utah. And you just treat me awful. You're just like making this so hard for me. Can't we just, just a lot of crying. And I faced those fears that I thought I had overcome again, that I wasn't enough. And every time I would get to that point in the mountain, I would say, not today. Not today.
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to master this fear. And I learned not to be afraid to say something. I don't think I can make right there by myself. Can someone help me over this ravine? Being willing to be vulnerable, to stop hiding, to ask for help, to find my champions. It was one of the greatest things. And that's, I use a lot of the stories in my book about the metaphors of what it was like to climb Kili.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of life lessons in that for sure. Yeah, and I'm shout out to Martin too. He's another great human being that we both know now.
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool to rub shoulders with cool people who have been through hell and have figured it out. It's just, that's why I do this, honestly, Mary.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by your story. I wasn't expecting any of this today. and I mean that like sincerely. Like, I mean, I know you've lived an amazing life and stuff, but thank you for all the vulnerability you're expressing here today. It's truly inspiring.
So what are you going to put on your bathroom mirror in the morning?
Oh, I love it. I'm going to have all my clients do that too, by the way.
What would I do today?
Because if you really answer the question, okay, this is the key, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. This is what was going through my head as you're telling me this. If I really answer that question, what would I do if I wasn't scared to walk into that room right now?
Yeah.
Just like you said, well, I would walk in, I would introduce myself to the first person. I would say, hi, my name's this so-and-so, and hey, tell me where I go grab this and that. And I think that is such a empowering question.
It's so simple.
It's so simple too. And then when you go, that's what I would do if I had fear. And I don't want to have fear. So you know what? I'm going to go do it. And then you do it and you go, wow. I love that. I circled it. I'm taking so many notes here. I'm circling
think as a client or anyone who's been down this road of addiction and recovery, as they look at that, how would that change their life? And if you had a Post-it note that said, what would I do today if I was no longer afraid?
Yeah.
And most of the time the fears are, I'm afraid I can't do it. I'm afraid I'm not enough. But what would you do if you weren't afraid? I would not go to that party. And instead, if I wasn't afraid, I'd actually call my mentor and tell them that I'm struggling instead of hiding and telling them that I'm just fine.
Yeah.
And so when you process that, such a simple thing becomes your lifeline out.
Yeah, so beautiful. Beautifully said too, Mary. Thank you so much for sharing all that. You know, you do a lot of amazing things now, and you're out there, and you're not afraid to speak now. I mean, you put yourself out there in so many great ways, and you benefit so many people. What does a day in a life look like for you? Like, people might go, because they see you on stage, they see you on a podcast, they see you on YouTube, they see you on TV. You've written these books and stuff, but behind the scenes, like just in a day, like what do you do to kind of keep yourself centered? Like, what is there something you do? Do you have like a morning routine? I love asking that question because I'm just curious if there's something you try to do maybe on a consistent basis to keep you centered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, before I jump out of bed, I lay there for just a minute. And I kind of think about the day before. How did I do the day before? Did I live the life I wanted to live? And I really, because you're not showing up for it, you're not telling anybody, you have to account. You just say, honestly, how was my day yesterday? Well, it's pretty good. I did this and this, but then there was all morning when I just watched CNN News and looked at my social media for 3 hours. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's not in keeping with the woman I am. Not the woman I want to be, the woman I am. And so today, and then I rehearse what this day looks like. Today I have these things on my calendar, and I'm going to show up as my whole self. And I really play that through my mind, what that looks like. What does showing up as your whole self mean?
Yeah.
And it is that self-love, that self-care in so many areas, not just physically anymore, but you can't heal one piece without healing them all. So, well, then how do I show up for myself emotionally and mentally and spiritually and socially? And so that I've gotten pretty good at this now. It takes me about 60 seconds. And then I am set.
Yeah.
I throw back the covers. I stand right up, and like, all right, let's do this.
Let's do this.
But I've rehearsed it in my mind. I no longer have the Post-it note on my mirror. I did for 10 years. Sometimes I had to replace it because my cleaning lady messed it up.
Right.
But for the most part.
Yeah.
And now I do it in my head, where I wasn't my best self yesterday. Or sometimes I say, you know what, damn it, I was really good yesterday. I was like really my best self all day long. Or sometimes, I just took a day off. And is that okay? That was okay because I regrouped. I did a lot of writing. And for me, meditating is such a huge piece for me now. People ask me, what's the difference between prayer and meditation? It's pretty clear. Prayer is when you're asking. I need this,
Please
I need help with this.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Aunt Edna and this and my son. And, it's ask, need. Meditation is when you turn the tables and you listen. You quiet the mind. You quiet the expectations. You quiet the outside world. And you just listen to the answers. What am I to do? What am I about? What should I be doing? Not should, but what do I get to do?
Yeah.
For me, one of the key pieces is this is back, a few years ago. Remember the phrase step in or lean in was always popular. Lean into it, lean into it.
Lean in.
And every time I would hear that next day in my meditation, I would hear, never lean in, only step in. Step in today, Mary. Step in. And allow life to envelop you. Allow the goodness of this universe to support you. Allow all that you are to shine. And if you're just leaning in and looking around, none of that happens.
Yep.
You have to step in. I've stepped in big time now.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a company in San Francisco called Big Speak, and they represent
Yeah.
people. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, I see you're 69. How long do you plan on speaking? On the big stage. And I said, I don't know. You have to tell me. What is the power of a 90-year-old badass walking out on the stage and saying, let's do this? And she said, okay, I get it.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
beautiful.
I retired at age 65, and I plan on living to 105 with an option to renew. If
Yeah,
I get
there
there,
you
and
go.
I'm still great.
You're like, I'm still good. Let's
and
go.
if I have 40 more years, it's not going to be just playing golf.
Yeah.
So many people, once they retire, that's their life, or
Yeah.
and I want to contribute. I want to
Contribute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be of value. I want to give back. I'm so grateful, so overwhelmingly grateful for the gifts that I've had and the gifts I continue to have. People say, oh, well, that's because you're now retired. You don't have this, you don't have that. Your children are gone. I'm like, I don't know what lies ahead. Is it a health problem? Is someone that I'm close to dies and passes away? At this age, that happens. Do you know what I mean? Maybe inflation continues to go absolutely ballistic, and everything I've saved that was now worth nothing. And I have to try and find a job at age 82. Or I completely have to move into with one of my children. I mean, I don't know what lies ahead. But I do know that whatever it is, I will ask myself every morning, okay, what will I do today? Because I'm not afraid.
Beautiful. Wow. I could talk to you all day, Mary. I think in closing, what I'd like to ask is, you've given such amazing advice. I've taken, if you guys could see my notepad, I've got more notes on here.
He's waiting sideways,
Yes, I'm
upside down.
Upside down. There's so many things here. Beautiful principles to live by, and I not only do I want to do these things, I want to share it with my family, with my clients, everything. So thank you for all of that. If there's someone right now that wants to reach out to you, they want to ask some questions, they're struggling and they want to get in touch with you. Maybe they want to get a copy of your book, listen to your podcast. What is the best way for them to do that?
The best single way to do that is to go to my website. I'm going to tell you a secret about my website that I don't normally tell people.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure I want the world to know. But here you go.
Here we go,
and
folks.
This group
Grab
will
your
now
pen.
know. So on my website, all my podcasts are there. So you can start listening, subscribe, or just listen to one. And don't just say, I'm going to start at the beginning and listen to the end. No. Just start scrolling. See which one speaks to you.
Yeah.
There's a summary of each one, a title of each one. See which one's right. About 2/3 of them, I have a guest, and about 1/3 of them are me alone with you. Just sharing what I've learned in my heart and encouraging you.
Yeah.
So there's the podcast there. Then there are the links to my social media so that you can follow me. Then this is the part. And my book, the link to where to buy my book on Amazon is there.
Great.
But this is the part that most people don't really realize.
Okay.
Is that when you go to the contact page, it's my cell phone.
Well, there you
And
go.
it's my personal email. So if you really want to reach out
Yeah.
and you feel there's something I
Yeah.
have to offer
For sure.
or a question,
Yeah.
yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm here for you
Yeah.
because you are me and I am you.
Wow. Beautifully said. And it's marycrafts.com.
No, well, it
Is
was
that right?
going to be until just before I retired. A clothing company in Florida took marycrafts.com.
You're kidding.
I'm like, what?
You're like, what's the deal
So
here?
I added the Inc. Incorporated. So it's Mary Crafts Inc. INC. It's not INK. I'm not doing tattoos. Mary Crafts Inc. INC.
I love your
.com.
humor. I love your humor. And I'll put that link in the show notes so
Yeah.
people can get to you easily. And thank you so much for taking some time with me today. And again, your vulnerability is inspiring.
So, but what did I tell you was the key? My vulnerability is the key. It's what I'm telling everyone on this show.
Right.
The healing starts when the
you
hiding stops.
stop.
I have nothing to hide from you.
You guys hear that? Write that down. Write that sucker down now. I'm telling you, beautiful. Yes, I love that. And then the exact thing you're hiding is going to be the very thing you're going to be loved for.
Absolutely.
That really hit me, because I was hiding my drug addiction. I was hiding that. And now, I open it up, and that's what I'm loved for because of what I've been through. And
Yeah.
it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
When you said that, I'm like, hello.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun. And like I said, so many people speak so highly of you. We've got a few mutual friends that just think the world
And
of
Martin,
you.
I didn't know.
And Martin too.
Yeah.
And so shout out to them, Martin, Tiffany Peterson, and
Yeah.
Amy Chandler. We love you guys. Mary's amazing, guys. I told you we were in for a treat today, and it has been nothing but that. I want to challenge the listeners to obviously listen to this, and you are listening to this if you're hearing me, but share it with someone that you know that's struggling. And here's why, and I say this a lot, because a lot of times it's hard to break the ice with someone who may be struggling. Like, what do I tell them? What do I say? Share this episode with them, send them the link, and then follow back up with them. Hey, what'd you think of what Mary said?
Yeah.
Just do it. And it opens up a dialogue. Because I'm telling you, they're going to have nugget after nugget after, oh, Mary said this and this and this. And then it gives you a chance to connect and communicate and bring them out from hiding.
Yeah.
Love
and
that.
all these principles are in my book.
Yeah.
It's a short read. It's only 149 pages with photos. And you can see a photo of me at 284.
It's scratch and sniff, and it's all everything, pop-ups.
And you can buy it on Amazon, but really these things are in there.
Yeah.
And so it makes a beautiful gift for anybody that needs to have that carried with them in their backpack every day.
Absolutely.
As a reminder. And
Yeah.
put a Post-it note inside for them that
Yeah.
says, what would you do today if you weren't afraid?
We're going to end on that because that's so beautiful. There you go, folks. Mary Crafts, everybody. Please check out her website. Please reach out to her. Ask her anything. She has nothing to hide, so you can get really vulnerable with her. If you got something you're hiding, tell her, and she will help you, and she will point you in the right direction. You can also, you can do that with me as well, and I will direct you to Mary at the same time. So I love you guys. Love you for the belief in me and tuning in week after week after week. And Mary, one last thank you. You're an amazing woman.